Forming new habits is one of the cornerstones of achievement in life. Now the problem is, most people are like this elastic band. You decide you want to achieve something new, so let's say your New Year's resolutions, and you put everything you have into it. And for the first couple of weeks, it really seems like you are starting to make progress. But then, the elastic snaps back and you return to your old ways and your old habits. And that keeps happening over and over again. And it always will until you learn how to build new habits. In this video, we are going to look at exactly how to do that, so that instead of the elastic snapping back, you learn how to build new habits that you can stick to so that you can work toward and achieve your goals. Okay, so building new habits is first and foremost very difficult. We are, for the most part, lazy. And building new habits, the ones that you really want to stick to over the long term to help you work towards your goals, it involves change and it involves a lot of energy. Both things which we are predisposed to avoid. So in this video, we are going to look at 5 guidelines that, if followed, will help you build those new habits that you are able to stick to. Now, I don't like to give across the message that I'm looking for these 5 simple tricks or this 5 special things that if you do, it's going to make it very easy for you. That is not the case. But these guidelines, if you use them, they are going to really help you build new habits, ones that you are able to stick to and focus on over the long term. So let's get started. Now, the first thing is looking at timescales. This tends to come about during, again, your January resolution. So in December, going into January, you'll see articles in magazines and it'll say things like, all you need to do is stick to something for 21 days and then it will become a habit and it's much easier for you to stick to it. Or maybe it'll say 30 days. Now, quite simply, that is a lot of rubbish. It just doesn't work. Now, the problem is you are setting yourself a destination and a finish line when you do that. Now, when those studies were initially done, I have no doubt that they found that after 21 days, it was much more likely for a habit to form and for the people who had lasted 21 days to then continue on over the long term. But once you know that it's going to be 21 days, it completely changes it in your mind. So let's say you are starting your New Year's resolution, or you're starting to learn to trade, you're starting to do something that you really want to achieve, and you've got in your mind that all it takes is 21 days and then it's going to become a habit and then it's going to become much easier. So 10 days in, you're waking up and you're thinking, okay, I've just got 11 days left. Or maybe you're going to the gym and you're on day 15 and you're really tired and you're really starting to get sore. And you're saying to yourself, okay, I've only got 6 more days to go. And then you wake up on the 21st day and what is going to have changed? Absolutely nothing. What you've done is you have set a finish line in your head and you've put all of your energy into getting you to this finish line. And what happens after that is you don't have enough left to carry you through. Willpower, determination, they are finite resources. There was actually a study carried out in, I believe it was the late 90s, and it was called the Radish experiment. Now, the Radish experiment involved groups of people. The people were put into a room, and this room was pumped full of the smell of cooking cookies. Now, on the table, there were chocolates, there were cookies, and there were also radishes. One group of people was told that they could eat whatever they want. So they went in and of course they went for the cookies, they went for the chocolate, they had a great time. Now the second group were told that they were only allowed to eat the radishes. So they had to use willpower and they had to use discipline to stop from eating the chocolates. You've got to remember this room is being pumped full of the smell of cooking cookies, you've got chocolates, you've got cookies, and then you've got radishes. Now, the second part of that experiment was that both groups of people were then taken into another room and they were given complex puzzles that they had to solve. And what they found was that the first group, the group who did not have to resist the chocolates and the cookies, lasted much, much longer working on these puzzles. And what it's showing is that your willpower, your discipline, your drive to carry on, it's finite. And if it gets all used up, then you are a lot less likely to follow through when you come to more challenging like things like the puzzle. So you should not set yourself goals of, okay, I need to get to 21 days and then it will be a habit. Instead, you should only focus on one day, and that should always be today. It's a lot easier when you are just sort of squashing it down into that manageable time periods. So when you wake up in the morning, you don't have to go to the gym for another 10 days, you just have to make it today. And then the next day, when you wake up, you just have to make it on that day, etc. By shortening it down, by not giving yourself a destination, it's a lot more likely that you are not going to give up when you reach that finish line. Okay, so after that, then we look at anchoring your new habit to something that you are already doing. Now, this is really, really important. As I've already mentioned, forming new habits, it takes a lot of energy. One of the easiest ways to make sure that you follow through with this on a regular basis is to anchor it to something that is already a habit and something that you already do day to day. So how do you do that? Well, we're going to look at a couple of different examples. Again, we're going to sort of go back to the gym example because it's something that most people tend to do at least once throughout their life. You know, when you want to lose some weight, perhaps you want to put on some muscle. And we're also going to look at learning to trade. Now, with the gym, let's say your morning routine is something like you wake up, you go in, you get showered, you come out, you get dressed, and then you head off to work. In those stages, you already have habits that you're anchored to. So what you can do if you want to go to the gym in the morning is the night before, you get your work clothes ready, you put them in a bag and you put them in your car. Your gym clothes you have sitting at the side of your bed. So now when you start to follow through with your habits that you've already formed and you're getting ready and you come out of the shower, you've only got your gym clothes to put on. If you wanted to skip the gym, you would then need to wake up, put on your gym clothes, go downstairs, go out to the car, go into the car, take out your bag, get out your work clothes, take off your gym clothes, put your work clothes back on, and then get ready for work to go to work. By anchoring it to something you're already doing, you're making it much more difficult to sort of break out of that lane of habits. Now, let's say you are wanting to learn to trade. What you do is when you come home from work, you want to study the charts or you want to read a particular trading book. Your habit when you come home from work is that you take your shoes off and you put them in the cupboard. Or one of the first things you do is you go through to the living room, you slump down on the couch and you turn on the TV. You know, that tends to be the sort of habits for people when they're tired, when they get home from work. What you could do is you could have the trading book you want to read, you could have it sitting in the cupboard, exactly where you usually put your shoes. So what you would need to do is pick up the trading book to put down your shoes. So it's anchoring it to the habit, so you're already in the motion of starting your new habit. If you go in and you start watching TV, you could have your laptop sitting on top of the remote controls open. So you would literally need to pick up the laptop, move it out of the way, and then get the remote control and start watching TV. You're sort of forcing yourself not only to ignore your habits that you want to form, but you're becoming face to face with them and you're having to use a conscious effort to get them out of the way and say, you know what, I don't actually want to move toward the goals that I am looking to set myself. Anchoring is a very, very powerful way to make sure you stick to your new goals. If we go back to the first point of sort of setting those destinations of 21 days, by anchoring, it's making sure that you keep doing it day to day to day, because it's something that you already do. Okay, so the third thing we're going to look at is breaking the habit down so that you're not focusing on lots of things at once. And what I mean by that is, think back again to your January resolutions. It comes to January and you don't sort of put together your January list and you say, I just want to learn a new language. You want to learn a new language, you want to lose weight, you want to start eating better, you want to start going out running, maybe you want to start studying calculus, maybe you want to learn to trade. And what happens is you overload yourself. So if we go back to looking at willpower and discipline as a finite resource, think about it this way. If your drive and your willpower is fuel, and you've got a car and you want to get your car from location A to location B. Now, if you have all the fuel in that fuel tank, let's say you can definitely make it from A to B. But if you have 6 different cars and you have to split that fuel between all of the cars, and then you try and get to destination B, what's going to happen is all of those cars are going to stutter on the way, they're going to run out of petrol, and not one of them is going to make it to the destination. By only focusing on one thing, so all you need to do is decide what it is that you want most. And you want to put all of your focus and all of your drive into that one goal. It's much more likely that you're going to be able to form and stick to one habit at a time. If you sort of put all of these different habits on your mind at once, what's more than likely going to happen is that you are going to fail all of them, and you're just going to get frustrated, you're going to get tired, and you're going to sort of snap back to the way you used to be. Now, after that, we need to look at reminding ourselves. Again, this is really, really important. It can be as simple as having mantras. I have mantras. I have mantras that I say to myself over and over and over again throughout the day. So let's say you want to learn to trade. Your mantra could be something like, I want to learn to trade so that I can start looking after my savings. I want to learn to trade so I can start looking after and growing my pension. I want to learn to trade because I want to use the money I make to go traveling the world. It can be whatever it is that you want. By repeating it to yourself, it's kind of like if we go back to looking at the car with the petrol tank, which is your willpower, the mantra and the reminding yourself is like stopping off at the fuel station. So as your willpower starts to drain, you use the mantra and you use the reminder, start filling it back up again so it never gets to empty. Now, it doesn't need to just be a mantra. You could literally set reminders in your phone, something I do also. The reminder can go off every sort of hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it is that you want. And it can pop up and it can have exactly what you want it to say. So I want to learn to trade because, or I want to go to the gym because. And what it's doing is it's not only reminding you and cementing the habit in your mind, but it's refilling your willpower. Very, very important. You can also set things like, you can have it written on a piece of paper, so when you wake up, it's the first thing that you see each day. But for me, my personal preference is to use the mantra. I find that really, really helps. And it gets to a point where the mantra becomes a habit. And I'll be sitting sometimes watching TV, and I'll be a little bit lazy, and I'll notice that I'm saying it in my head. And what it's doing is it's dragging my attention away from the TV. Because even when I'm trying to watch something, that mantra is going around in my head, and it sort of reminds me that I am ignoring the habit and the goal that I want to work towards. So mantra is really, really important. Now, the fifth and final thing is reward. We are, as well as being lazy, we are relatively simple creatures. We respond to very simple inputs. Now, we are working towards new goals. As we are working toward those goals, we should have small, sort of micro goals on the way. So instead of, I want to become a trader, you can be setting goals like, I want to learn how to read candlestick charts. Then it can be, I want to be able to plot support and resistance, and then over the month, watch the reactions and see that my support and resistance levels are reacting well. I want to paper trade and see profit for a week. And then it can be, I want to have a perfect trading day where I don't emotionally trade. I want to have a perfect week. I want to have a perfect month. And each time you reach one of those micro goals, you reward yourself. Now, the reward can be anything you want. It can literally be something ridiculous like you run around the house, you shout at the top of your voice, I am now one step closer to my goal. You can turn around, you can pat yourself on the back and you can say, well done, I'm really proud of myself for getting another step closer to my goal. You can decide that when you achieve your goal, you can go meet your friend, you can go for a beer. What we're doing is we're trying to get the endorphins going. Now, endorphins, when used properly, are very, very powerful things. They are basically the cement that's going to start gluing this goal and this habit together making it much more likely to continue in the long term. So reward yourself, and also, you know, when you're working towards something, you don't just want to have your head down. You know, if you put your head up and you look around, you'll see there's a lot of good things going on in your life. You want to sort of remind yourself, you don't want to sort of get the weight on your shoulders and the weight of the world pressing down on you. So enjoy yourself, reward yourself as you take each of these steps and as you start to get closer to your goal. Okay guys, those are the 5 guidelines that I use to help me build new habits. So as always, I hope that was helpful. If you have anything else that you use to help you build new habits, please feel free to comment down below. Also, let me know what you think of the video. It's starting to step away from just the trading side of things, which is really what I'm starting to look to do with some of these videos. I want to start touching on the psychology side of things. So let me know what you think of the last few videos that I have been posting in this sort of subject area. Okay, so as always, I hope that was helpful, guys. I'm James Orr, and thank you.